think this is the right one. Oh, come on. Trying to share my screen here, so.
We should have practiced that this morning.
I know, right? There we go. All right. Can you see? Let's see. And boom. Hey, we're off to a good start there. All right. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today, we'll be presenting an interactive webinar about how to rehumanize your networking following the pandemic. And my name is Alan. I'm joined by my good friend, longtime referral partner, realtor, and master networker, Beth Kopic. Beth, you want to wave and introduce yourself real quick?
Hello. I don't know if I can follow that up. Yes, I'm a realtor here in the Denver metro area, based out of Cherry Creek, and I network nationwide. So if you're not connected with a good realtor in your area and you're looking for someone, I am happy to make a connection for you. Most of my business is based off of referrals and networking. So I've kind of based my business off of this, and look forward to working with Alan today to share some tips and tricks with you guys, and maybe even learning some things from you. So this webinar is as successful as you are interactive. We encourage your interaction. I'll be watching the chat to make sure we don't miss anything, and look forward to seeing what we share today.
Awesome. Thank you, Beth. And we also have Becky Tangwall with I Take the Lead. And is Lynn joining us today?
Yeah, he's here.
He's here? Okay.
Yeah.
And
Somewhere.
Lynn. Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
There he is. And Kevin McWhorter. So good to see you. So awesome. So as we go through this, like I said, this is a interactive webinar. Please don't hesitate to ask questions. We'll probably mute microphones for the time being, but please don't hesitate to ask questions in the chat box at the bottom of your screen, assuming you're on a PC. If you're on Apple, it's up over here. And if you're on Android, it's in the next room. So as people continue, let's see. Probably introduce myself. My name is Alan. I'm a practice director and health coach for Renova Infusion and Comprehensive Health. We're a primary care practice in Castle Rock, Colorado. I've been networking for a very long time. Beth and I have actually known each other for, this is our 6th year. I think that we've known each other.
Wow.
Yeah. So we actually met through I Take the Lead. And, so networking is a super critical part of our business. It's an important part of Beth's business. It's a super important part of growing our business. So with the pandemic, we kind of noticed, that we had a conversation kind of late last year, and that conversation kind of started with, how we noticed that some fundamental changes in the way we do business, in ourselves, and how others do business and whatnot. And we've kind of had to adapt accordingly. The last 24 months, I don't want to dwell on the pandemic too much because we get enough of that through the news, of course. But the last 24 months has been very interesting in terms of networking and trying to grow a business. And if you haven't been paying attention, if you've been living under a rock, you probably have seen the same thing. We noticed that trying to network, people are really only referring to individuals who they know, like, and trust. So that's going to be kind of the foundation of this webinar, is how to establish that trust and rapport a little more easily, coming out of the pandemic.
Well, and Alan, to piggyback on that, as we talk about these different topics, so Alan and I had this conversation towards the end of last year and started developing what we were going to talk about for this webinar. And very recently, I spoke to a financial planner here in the metro area that I am close friends with, and we've been referral partners for a few years. And she told me that just since the first of this year, she's added $1 million to her book of business from referrals. However, that was all from clients. It was referral based from clients that she's staying in contact with. And we kind of talked briefly about how different that is, because in the past, pre-pandemic, her business was very much from people like us. It was her realtors, her insurance connections, doctors, attorneys, people like that she knew out in the field that were sending her business. Now that she's not interacting with those types of individuals as much because of, perception or people's comfort level, the referrals are coming more from her database. So part of what we wanted to talk about today will be in several different areas, but is keep your eyes open, because you never know when that referral is going to come, where it's going to come from. It's important to hit on all aspects and making sure you're touching and humanizing each of those areas.
Good point.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So first and foremost, one of the biggest things that we've noticed is showing up for meetings and whatnot. When you're getting out there and networking and everything, we're seeing that there's been a significant change. Beth talked about a referral partners, or her partner of hers reaching out to her list. And I personally have seen, networking is as important as ever, with, significant changes in status, in, careers, and even states. Personally, out of all of my referral partners, I'd say at least 40% have either changed careers, changed status, either taken a promotion or taken a different position in their company, or have completely left the state. And it makes it a little harder to network with somebody, if you rely on them for a local service, if they're in a different state. So I can't, we were talking about this earlier, and we can't really identify why this has happened or really how this has happened. It's only that, we can share how we've adapted to it. And the first thing if you rely on word of mouth to grow your business, you really want to work on surprising and delighting everyone you interact with. That's your referral partners. That's, of course, your clients, because your referral partners, when you go out of your way to surprise and delight, and I'll go on into more detail on that in a little bit too. When you go out of your way to surprise and delight your referral partners, that conveys to them that they actually convey that message to their clients that they refer to you. It's all about impressions: first impressions, second impressions, third impressions. And again, I can personally tell you from my own experience. I mean, just today, Beth actually surprised and delighted me with a video that I'm going to share at the end of this slideshow that she sent to me as kind of a follow-up. So it's all about creating impressions. When you're meeting with somebody, when you're meeting a referral partner, it starts with being on time or early. And Beth and I have shared some very interesting stories within the last probably 18 months, 12 to 18 months, with our experiences networking, out and about. She's a lot more adventurous in terms of meeting with people out, at coffee shops and whatnot than I am. I tend to rely on Zoom and whatnot. But the aim is to make that person feel important, and again, to relay that they are important, and that's the impression that they relay to their client. Beth, would you be willing to share what happens to a referral partnership when they don't show up?
Well, they are no longer referral partners. That's the most polite way. That's probably not what I texted you.
Right.
All kidding aside, I mean, Alan has the unfortunate designation of we're now like dysfunctional siblings. We've known each other and networked together long enough that when something strange and unusual happens with networking, I send him a text and I'm like, can you believe? And I rant for a little bit. But it has, pre-pandemic, it wasn't unusual for somebody to get tied up and run a little late and let me know, hey, I'm running late. Okay, no big deal. If we all are busy, life happens. And, even during the world that we live in, stuff happens, but people are so cautious now to even take a face-to-face. I don't know how it is where all of you are, but in Denver, for a while, to even get somebody to say, okay, we're not going to meet on Zoom, I'll meet you in person. People were so cautious about that was a big deal. So to actually get fully dressed instead of from the waist up and leave and leave your house and drive, you're not just walking to a Zoom screen. There's now commute time and all of that. To stand somebody up is kind of, in my mind, unforgivable. Like somebody needed to die or go to the hospital for that to be okay. And I know that's terrible to say, but my time is important. And as is yours. If I know I'm going to be running just a few minutes late, even if I'm circling looking for a spot to parallel park in, I'll text you, hey, I'm on site. I can't find a parking spot. I'll be there ASAP. That way you're not wondering what's happened. So I think it's really important to keep those lines of communication on. We all have stuff going on in our lives, but it's a chore now to get up and go meet somebody and then to sit there and not. I had somebody stand me up and we rescheduled. And the following week they stood me up again. And
Wow.
they are now on my them who shall not be named list. And I do keep that list in my database so that if I forget about you and you reach out, I'm reminded, oh, they stood me up twice.
I make random calls and pretend to be Liam Neeson to people like that. I have a very particular set of skills. I will find.
Hey, Beth. One of the other things that happens, some of us use those, great calendar programs that are on our emails, and they book an appointment with us in a Zoom call, and then they go in and they change the time 6 times. After the second time, I just say not acceptable and don't accept their, invites anymore, because it's not talking about, they don't care about my time. They think it's, oh, hey, he's got availability on Thursday, so I'll just change it to Thursday because that works better for me. It's like, maybe it doesn't work better for me. Maybe I had something planned for this time today, and now I had to, shift it, to another day. And hey, it's a hard issue because there's a lot of people that do that with the Calendly and appointment setters and stuff. They'll change their times and they say, oh, they're available, I'm going to switch it. Well, you need to make a courteous call and let them know.
Yeah.
Right. No, I 100% agree with you, Kevin. And I'm sorry, I forget which city you're in, but if you're in a metro area like we are, I mean, sometimes I'll book, okay, I'm going to be in downtown. And for me, it's a 45-minute drive to get downtown. So I'll book multiple appointments for downtown that day. And then I'll book multiple appointments in another area of town another day. So it makes sense. And I'm not letting Calendly dictate that I'm running all over the metro.
Good point.
I agree with that one 150%. And then it goes for Zoom calls though too, because today I had a Zoom call at 3 to 4 o'clock, and they postponed, they changed it to Thursday. Didn't email me, they just changed it. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. No, you don't do that.
Oh, wow.
Without emailing and saying, hey, this isn't gonna work out. Can we change it to Thursday? I see you're available. Great. Yeah, no, that'll be fine. So I sent them a polite message.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, excellent point. Thank you for sharing that, Beth. Interesting point on that. That same, I know we're talking about the same individual because he set a follow-up appointment with me 2 weeks later and failed to show. So now he has a
Oh, no.
reputation. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, but yeah, when you do actually meet, whether it be in person or via Zoom, don't be afraid to ask questions, engage with that person, ask questions, get to know each other, because as you get to know each other, you'll find that there's opportunities to either create those referrals. And it's not just a matter of, looking for opportunities for them to refer to you or for you to refer to them. Again, numerous times where Beth and I have been talking today is a good example where I'll just, in passing kind of mention, like today I mentioned I was a little frustrated with our CPA. I was a little less than enthralled with our CPA. And Beth was like, hey, I know a tax attorney. And like, well, that might be a little better. So, and she put me in touch with her tax attorney. So it's, the fundamental part of networking is improving one's value, and it's improving your value proposition to your referral partners and them to do the same for you. And, again, Beth and I will go back and forth a lot. I'll get a text message out of the blue. Hey, do you know somebody who does this? And I either have a contact or I don't, and vice versa. Hey, do you know somebody who, I'll send her a text. When we were looking for a lease, a commercial office space last month. Hey, do you know anybody who does commercial leasing? And she actually had a connection. So, again, it's about improving value. And the only way you can do that is if you ask questions and really get to know each other. So don't be afraid to really get to know each other. The easiest way, and again, I want to pass this off to Beth, because one of the easiest ways to get to know the other person is through an acronym called FORD, Family, Occupation, Recreation, and Dreams. And Beth is probably one of the best people to talk about this, because I believe you used to coach other agents through Keller Williams on this, right?
I did. I don't know that I'm the best. You're being way too kind. I bribed him prior.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ford is one of my favorite things to talk about. And, I'll admit that when you do this right, it really pays off. It can take some time, but when you do it wrong, and I've been guilty of doing it both right and wrong, people, if they are in the habit of knowing that you're going to reach out and they come to respect that of you, and then you fall off the face of the earth, it can be pretty detrimental. So if you're going to adopt, I would say you're either going to adopt Ford or you're not. Don't play with Ford, if that makes sense. Ford stands for Family, Occupation, Recreation, and Dreams. And really, what I do is, in the beginning, I was a little more rigid with it to make sure that I talk about one to two of these in each touch with someone. So I'm doing a care call to Alan. Hey, Alan, how are you doing? How's Jessica? How's Ben? I know his kids' names now, so I try to call them out by name. I try to say his wife's name, see what they've got going on. And depending on how much time I have, because a Ford conversation can take a while if you get real into it. If he's real brief with that family part of it, then I'll hit one of those other categories. I know last time we were talking about getting the family ready for a vacation. You guys wanted to go to Cabo. Were you able to go? How did that work out? And just ping pong a conversation. In the meantime, I've got my little note board next to me, and I'm taking notes to put into my database after the phone call, so that when I talk to him again, I know, okay, we didn't talk about occupation or recreation. I know to hit that, so that each time we're having a conversation, I'm hitting those 4 areas, but I'm not having a 2-hour-long conversation and hitting them all at once. What I love about this is you start to find out what makes them a person. So I start to find out who my soccer fanatics are. And soccer is a big deal in my family. We own season tickets to the professional team here. I'm laughing at Kevin as he's woo-wooing me, but you know, for some people it's archery, for some people it's the NFL, you know, whatever it is, find that out. And then you can set Google alerts up. So you look like a rock star when you find out that the Seattle Sounders have made the playoffs, and you send a quick email to Kevin or a voice text or something that says, hey, Kevin, I know you're a big Seattle Sounders fan. I saw this news article about them today and it made me think of you. Hope all's doing well. It doesn't have to be anything really long, but just kind of bringing back that you remember what their recreation passions are. You remember what they like, and go from there. And I'm sorry that I got your team wrong. But that has really worked well. I know a travel agent that uses that in, you know, she even hits it up for Olympic packages. Hey, I know you're a big fan of archery. They're going to be, you know, they skipped a year and now they're back. I can put together this great package in Timbuktu for you. Are you interested in learning more? So it can really be relevant for whatever industry that you're in. For me, I've always used it to further those personal relationships, but using that works because in my business, typically I don't get to do business with you more than every 5 years or so because you're not buying a house all the time. But if I am, you know, if you believe that I care, and I do, they can tell if you're faking this. Yeah. But if you believe that I'm genuine and I care about your passions, then guess who you call? And that doesn't matter which industry you're in.
Wow, great ideas. Thank you.
Well said.
I don't know, Lynn. Other people might like to go to the mattresses.
Oh, oh, geez, Lynn.
So thank you, Beth. That was excellent. Thank you very much. So after you meet with your referral partner, regardless of whether it was your first meeting, your 20th meeting, whatever the situation might be, in person, in Zoom, however, you know, phone call, whatever, you always want to follow up. That's probably one of the most important aspects of networking, just like it's one of the most important aspects of a sale. You know, you always want to follow up. Although I do hate to put sales and referrals in the same breath, but you always want to follow up, and how you follow up depends on a lot on, you know, your own personality. Like Beth mentioned, you know, care calls, those are real big. I tend to lean a little more on email. Beth is a little more personable with reaching out with phone calls, and I'm more likely to get a phone call first from her than an email, especially to schedule, you know, a one-on-one or anything along that line. I tend to lean a little more on email. Like I said, text messages are another good option. But you want to choose what's appropriate for your line of work, your business, and your personality. It's what you're, you know, for the most part, what you're comfortable with. With that in mind, we do encourage you to kind of step out of that comfort zone a little bit with particularly the last two, the handwritten notes and the video messaging. Handwritten cards and video messaging by text are especially powerful, especially right now, you know, coming through the pandemic, coming out of the pandemic. That's an excellent way to kind of reestablish that humanity, you know, rehumanize your networking by putting a personal touch to your networking contacts, to your networking attempts. And, you know, a handwritten note, I've gotten handwritten notes from Beth. It seems like every time we talk, you know, she's sending out a stack of handwritten notes. So, you know, I got to give her credit for that. She's got to be the queen of sending out handwritten notes, because she kind of puts me to shame in that regard. But from our conversations, it's certainly not in vain. I mean, it sounds like she's actually gotten quite a bit of referral traffic through those personal touches. And what would you say is, Beth, what would you say is the best practice in when it comes to sending out follow-up cards and handwritten notes?
like I said with Ford, be genuine. People can tell if you're faking it. And I will say my handwritten notes are anything from hey, I enjoyed coffee with you, looking forward to getting to know you better. Sometimes they're not real deep. Sometimes it's just those two sentences after an initial conversation, but it's a handwritten note with my business card, and it goes to the person that I just had coffee or lunch with, or a Zoom. And sometimes they're kind of kitschy. So last year, I had a coach that challenged me to, celebrate Earth Day by sending out a little packet of seeds. And I thought that's so dumb. I mean, it's overdone. A lot of people in my line of work do something with a packet of seeds. I was just like, no, but I did it because she challenged me to it, and it was not in my comfort zone. So, I went on Amazon and I didn't get a packet of seeds. And I was just looking at my desk. I don't have them anymore, but I got these little plantable pieces of paper. So they were shaped like a ladybug, and then you could plant them in the dirt and water them, and they would sprout wildflowers.
Wow.
So they were super inexpensive on Amazon, and I was able to get a packet of I think I got 2 or 3 packets of them, and that covered my whole database. And my handwritten note was something along the lines of, hey, just thinking about you. We're coming up on Earth Day. Do me a favor and plant these seeds. Let me know how they grow. I mean, it was not at all asking for business, just kind of a reminder that, hey, I'm out here. We're coming up on this day. Here's a little token. And honestly, including the stamp, it probably costs me less than $1 a person to send out. And I can't tell you how many people called me or sent me a text of, oh my gosh, this is so cute. I had so much fun with my kids planting them, or, I planted them on my front porch in a little potter. I can't wait to see what they grow. It was really cool. People I hadn't heard from in a while actually responded to that silly little thing. So I would say be comfortable being you, but also be comfortable taking a risk and just reach out. I mean, how many of us go to the mail every day or once a week or whenever you go, and you don't get anything except junk? So to get
bills.
right. So to get something, for me, I stopped getting handwritten notes in the mail when my grandmother passed away. She was the only person I ever knew that would religiously send out something that she wrote by hand. Everything else has been an email, a phone call. There's been very little written communication since the age of the internet has arrived. So it really sets you apart as someone who took time and recognized not only your database, but also your networking partners, because a lot of them also, maybe they're going to learn this from you, or you're the only one who's doing it for them, even if they've heard of it before.
Beth, as a change, we've been doing a lot of electronic stuff. I actually did Christmas cards to a lot of family and friends this year, and I actually sent home baked goods. Because of the quarantine and everything, I thought people need something nice in their mailbox. And if you'd sent me the flowers, the seeds, I would have sent you a note saying, these weren't wildflowers. I'm sure glad we changed the laws.
I don't get it.
Sorry.
Special random weed,
Yeah.
Special place.
Yeah, I got you.
States from Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Oregon.
Oregon, yes.
And well, actually, and Vegas, or Nevada, and Washington.
yeah.
So yeah, all of us.
So something I want to add on to that is excellent information. But when you do your handwritten notes, a handwritten address will set you apart. Again, I've gotten we've gotten cards from Beth, and that little detail where she's handwritten our name and address on there is the difference between, flipping through, okay, this is a form letter, oh, look at that. It's a handwritten card, handwritten note, handwritten address. It's super easy to print out a label with somebody's address. And I think most of our CRMs, if we use a CRM, they do that. But taking that extra minute to handwrite the person's name and address on there is the difference between, oh, wow, this is somebody who's really surprised me and I'm delighted to actually get this versus, okay, and it's just going in the pile. So awesome. Thank you, Beth. I appreciate that. When you're networking with people and you're getting their address information, it's also an excellent time to ask them if you mind if they are okay with you sending a newsletter. If you send a monthly newsletter or something along that line, it's a good opportunity to ask that too, and that also helps keep you top of mind. And we save the best for last. We have a little bit of time left. Video messages are, like I said, probably one of the most powerful, second only to handwritten card in maintaining that personal and human relationship with not only your referral partners, but your clients. Because when you send a video, you can easily include specific details about your conversation, follow up with things you offered, and even ask additional questions in that video. And it also has, one of the benefits of being able to include facial expressions. You can smile. You can't smile in a text or an email. You can smile. You can convey body language. There's a lot you can do with video. And again, I got to give credit where credit's due. I was actually prepared to show one of my videos and everything, but Beth sent me a follow-up video this morning, and it just blows everything out of the water with anything I could do. And I really hope this plays. So.
Beth here. Thank you so much.
Can you guys hear that?
Yes.
This morning, I really enjoyed learning more about Renova. I had no idea you guys were offering such a robust line of services to your clients, and I cannot wait to take that knowledge and share it with folks that I know to send you some referrals. Here in the next few minutes, you're going to get an email from me with an introduction to Peter. He is the attorney we spoke of this morning. I think you'd really benefit from meeting him, not only from a referral standpoint, but I also think that his services are some that we discussed that fits your needs. I've worked with him for a long time, both personally and professionally, and think that he'd be a great guy for you to get to know. If there's anything else I can help you with, please don't hesitate to reach out. As always, I'm here for you, and I hope you and Jessica stay safe and healthy. Talk to you soon.
Awesome. So
A minute 4 seconds. I was looking to see how long it was.
yeah, minute and 4, but look at all, excuse me, look at how much you covered in a minute and 4 seconds. And she sent that to me in a text, and I mean, my videos are usually short and sweet and to the point. I tend to be, very direct and to the point, but that when she sent that to me, I was like, holy crap, that's very personable. It's very, it's very, it's sincere, it's genuine, just like you said. And that's super important. So
Can I ask a question?
Please.
Yeah, Beth, so what did you use to record it? Like your phone?
My cell phone.
Your cell
That
phone.
literally, so for people who think I've got to run out and I've got to buy all this setup,
Yeah.
like we're Zooming today and I've got a ring lamp and all that on.
Yeah.
I didn't have any of that for this. I literally sat in my chair, selfied my video. So like this one arm is up and I'm talking to my phone, talking to Alan. I have done these after open houses. Like I've gone and picked my signs up and then sat in my car in a parking lot for a few minutes and sent these to everybody that I met at an open house that day. Hey, Tim, it was so great to meet you at 123 West Main Street. I just wrapped up the open house and picked up the signs. I wanted to make sure I reached out to you, see if you had any questions about this property or any other properties I could help you out with. You now have my cell phone. You can call or text back to this number. We'll touch base soon, and I'll talk to you next week if I don't hear from you on the weekend. It's 45 seconds or less. It was not done very professionally, but it's a touch. And in today's world, that touch is what people are lacking.
And that's rehumanizing networking.
And Beth, going on to that, because I've done this in the mortgage side of my business, is sometimes I have a conversation with one of the spouses and not both. And I'll send them this little text message like you just did, the video, and I'll just say,
Yeah.
hey, this is Kevin, you talk about that your wife wanted to, you had to talk to your wife about this. I'm available anytime for your wife to ask me personal questions about this property or any other properties that you might want to see. So let her know my number, and here it is, just in case you forgot it. And thank you. Just kind of a nice letting him know that you heard him, that you need the spouses and, to talk to the spouse. Make her feel like she's part of this conversation, not just him, So
Great idea.
I think that's fantastic. I've never used that tactic, but I love it. And the video, what a lot of people are worried about is they need some high-end technology. All you need is a phone that shoots video. And I didn't edit this. I mean, I like to keep them a minute or less. This one went 1:04. So I'm not terribly upset about that, but my goal is to keep it a minute or less. And I don't care if I have a professional shirt on. I don't care if I'm sitting in my car, my office, what it is. It's just important to let them know you're thinking about them. What I'll follow up with is, in that message I told Alan, here in the next few minutes, you're going to get an email with the contact information of the guy I want you to meet.
Yeah.
You better make sure you do that. So, if you're going to put a timeline on it, make sure that you hit the timeline. If you're not sure you can get it done that day, leave it open-ended. By tomorrow at lunch, I'll send you the information you requested. I haven't forgotten about it. I'm out and about, whatever that is, but make sure that whatever you commit to, you follow up. So in this example, I sent the text to Alan, and then within the next 5 minutes, I was on my computer and I made sure to do that introduction to him and to the other individual.
Jason Stein is a speaker on I Take the Lead for years, and he's talked extensively about using videos. And one of the biggest things that does, it gets you comfortable with seeing yourself on video. Too many people worry about, do I look right? Do I sound right? Just like you say, Beth, be yourself. It comes across. And just that little touch, that little reach makes all the difference in the world. You're not just somebody sitting silently in a box or silently at the table. You're engaging.
Well, and Lynn, didn't you like 30 days in a row while you were running?
Yeah, I did. I did shout outs to referral partners, and basically gave them kudos to referral partners. Every day on my run, I would do a video while I was running.
Yeah.
And it made I think it was really good.
That's awesome. I had, when I first got into real estate, I had a lending partner who was huge into video. And at that time, 6 years ago, we were doing video, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now.
Right.
And he was really pushing, and he would hold seminars teaching realtors how to do video. And he was really pushing that we all adapt this. And he looked at me one time, and I won't ever forget it because I've used it on other agents ever since. He looked at me and said, realtors don't like to do video because they don't like how they sound and look on video. He said, I got news for you. That's how you sound and look when you talk to me over coffee. That's how you sound and look when we talk on the phone. Get over it, because that's how you sound and look everywhere. And I was like, he's right,
Absolutely. Tammy, I saw your note about Vidyard. What is that?
It's a program that he uses, and right after he joined our Friday morning group, he sent an email, and I opened up the email, and it was the coolest video. And it was like yours, Beth. It was very short. It was just thanking the group, and it was so nice to meet everybody, and I look forward to interacting. And it was nothing flashy, just simple. And I was like, wow, That was very powerful.
And he does it on his desktop.
Yeah, he was just sitting at wherever he was sitting, but it was his computer, desktop,
Right.
on his phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, people have different things. The cell phones now have so much video production in them. Somebody used to be in the groups, a young realtor, when he launches an open house or a new property,
Oh, yeah.
especially the high-end condos down in the Pearl District, he introduces them with video. And he's got music, he's done it with houses, and it's so different. And I've told him, I said, it's just a fantastic way to get yourself out there in a way that others aren't. So again, it allows you to connect with people, and it makes you stand out from the crowd, which, that's a good thing.
I have a question. What, this is for anybody really. What percentage of the people that you used to go see are no longer being seen because they're all working remotely, or they, like you said, they changed jobs? What have you found in that?
Alan's is big.
Yeah, he's big on statistics.
I'm the numbers geek. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can fairly confidently say that at least 40% of my referral list is I can't, they're no longer a referral partner for, one reason or another. And they're good reasons. I mean, they're some have just either moved into a different position in their company. The majority of that 40% either left their position or their company altogether, or left the state. There for a while. For the majority of last year, I went through this weird phase with my referral contacts where it's like every single, everyone that I talked to, oh, they're moving to a different state. And that was something I said. I'm starting to get kind of self-confident or self-conscious about this, I should say. So, but I'd say easily about 40% of my long-term referral partners have moved to another state or changed positions or something along that line. Out of those, I maintain contact with, a kind of a choice few, and that's, you'll see that as you network, you'll kind of get a good idea of who's a really strong referral partner. Like, like Beth is an exceptionally strong referral partner, and versus those that, okay, maybe they're not quite adept with networking. They might need a little bit of coaching. They might need a little help, which if I can, I try to help them with that. Versus those that, unfortunately, there are those that are out there that are just purely in it for themselves and just want the referrals, but don't give anything back. And so I personally network. I have a network of about 20 people that I stay, in contact with pretty regularly that offer something. Each of them offers something very, very unique, and they're good at what they do, and they're very good at networking. So hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it's just not the same anymore.
It's not. It's really not.
And part of what Alan and I talked about, and we didn't really hit it when we started off, but you got to meet people where they're at. And people are so all over the board with what their comfort levels are. And no disrespect to anybody if you're not as comfortable as I am with something, because something you are comfortable with might be my line in the sand that I'm not willing to cross at this point. But it's very much like, Alan said, she's all over the place and meeting people. I am, if people are comfortable with that. But when I sit down, Denver right now, we're back under a mask regulation. So unless you're eating or drinking, you got to wear a mask indoors. So when I sit down, I'll typically wear my mask until whoever I'm meeting joins me, or if they beat me there, I'll wear my mask until I find out what their comfort level is. Now, once I have a coffee in front of me, I'm hoping they're fine with me being masked off. But if they tell me that they're not, I'll wear it the whole time. That's fine. As long as I'm getting to break bread with you. And I think that's what's important, is making sure you're meeting people where they're at. Twice in the past couple of weeks, I've had someone ask me, Keller Williams is big on hugs. pre-pandemic, we had a saying that if you didn't get 7 hugs a day, you went weird. So, we'd hug each other or whatever. And I've had a couple people recently ask me at the end of a meeting, is it okay if I give you a hug? And the first time I was like, no.
That's not even asking.
And the second time I was like, absolutely it is. Like, that's our culture, of course. But the first time it really took me off guard. And I was like, So I think you've got to be cognizant of, what your boundary is might not be someone else's, and just respect that, because we are still in uncharted times.
Yeah.
I think you also have to take a look at what's going on with different pandemic levels, what's going on with a variant or whatever. Like this summer, we did a couple of trips, and it was right before Delta hit. So things were relatively safe, and all of a sudden you've got Delta coming on. So then contract a little bit. So then things start opening up, and all of a sudden you've got Omicron. So you're going to have those waves where you might have to change your behavior, but realize it's not long term. You just have to be cognizant of what's going on right now and say, okay, this might be for another month or two where you have to be more cautious, but then hopefully we can start opening up and just incorporate that adaptability into your networking and your social interactions, and you should be fine.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Becky, I noticed you unmuted. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you do need to meet people where they're at, because my husband's had a double lung transplant. So even before COVID hit, I wasn't shaking hands. I mean, it's over once, because I need to keep myself safe for him. And it's surprising, even people that know he's had it, they'll like be hugging him. I'm like, no, we elbow bump, we don't. And so I appreciate, because sometimes it's like, I'm a hugger too, but it's just like I had to kind of make a change, and it's not necessarily really a COVID thing, but now with COVID, it's a bad time to be, he's the most vulnerable of the most vulnerable with the lung transplant. And so I appreciate that when people ask or say, do you shake hands, or can I do whatever? But, and I find a lot of times if I say, let's meet outside, people are a lot more open to that right now. With, just sitting outside seems to be more open. But I agree, you just have to kind of roll with the punches and see where people are at.
Yeah.
Right. Well said. So we've got a few minutes left. That's how we rehumanize our networking. I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. If you have any questions, we do have a few minutes left. Let's hear your questions. You can either drop them in chat or jump on the mic and ask your questions.
Well, quick comment. The other thing I would encourage people, this is something I did when we were meeting in person. I told the new networking people, try to engage, try to speak with people, let people know who you are, get engaged and participate in meetings, because then you're in the moment, you're enjoying the meeting, you're getting more out of it. And the same holds true for virtual meetings. Don't be that photo in the box. Let people hear your voice. If you're going to go to a virtual meeting, turn on your camera. You don't have to be dressed in a tux. You can be wearing a t-shirt, but people want to see you. It's easier to get to know somebody if you see their face.
I heard a term that I like and I've started to adopt called the the business mullet. Basically, business up top and comfortable down below. So, but you don't know. Yeah, I'm wearing a dress shirt and sweatpants.
That's how I spent all of 2020.
Yeah.
So, yeah, excellent. We still have time for questions. I just want to point out we have our contact information on the screen here. I accidentally exited out of the slide a second ago, but Beth's information at the top. I'm in the middle, and Becky, if you want to, if you're interested in joining an I Take the Lead group, reach out to Becky. And so, yeah, anybody else have any questions?
Matt had a question.
Please.
Yeah, Matt says, Beth, are you willing to share your database? Interested to know the categories and how you track notes.
Sure. So that would be a whole hour-long session.
I bet it would.
But Cliff Notes version of it is everyone goes in And then if they're a potential business partner, they get tagged with their industry. So I've got mortgages, I've got insurance, finance, or financial planners, yada, yada, yada. And then I actually tag them A through D. So A's are my top people. Like Alan said, he's got 20 people that he networks with on a regular basis and wants to stay in connection with. So those are my A's. It's not very many. B's are they have potential to be A's. We'll see. We're feeling them out, if that makes sense. C's are this is a blind person that I just met and I haven't really decided where they're going to land, but I want them in my database. And D's are those people that I talked about earlier, that they've done something along the lines, and I don't want to forget who they are, but I don't want to not have them in my database because they made such an impression that I want to make sure that I never interact at all.
Such a
Those
bad
are the people
impression.
that they use Ford and they don't understand the dream part and they share creepy dreams.
Right.
So did you do the Brian Buffini? Did you take his?
I do. So that's actually the
yeah, I did
database
too,
I
yeah.
use is Referral Maker, which is the Brian Buffini Referral Maker.
Yeah.
And that's not how the Buffini coaches will tell you that they set up their A's through their D's, but that's how I set them up.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of, I think we all have either customers or, our referral partners that fall into those categories that, those C's, maybe you only know them a year or so and haven't had a lot of interaction, but they're, like you said, there's potential, and you reach out a couple of times, and if you're not feeling the love, then they go down to, they stay a C kind of thing.
And, there are different concepts. I know someone who says they will never, ever, as long as they live, delete somebody out of their database because they put someone in there 10 years ago and they were on a drip campaign and suddenly they raised their hand and bought $1 million home. Sure, that works for them. I am not that agent. So typically, if I've dripped on you for 18 months and you haven't even said boo, I'm going to delete you. But if you've made such a negative impression, you're going in the D's. So
yeah. So but Matt did ask what kind of categories, what in your do you define them per category or?
So primarily it's the letter system. And then I have them tagged, and my tags get real weird. So it depends on like Alan may have multiple tags. So Alan's in there for the year we met. He's in there. He's got a tag for the year we met. He's got a tag for I take the lead. And then off the top of my head, he's got a medical tag because the industry that he and his wife work in is medical now. Yeah. And he's got a tag called IRA because he's attended my IRA seminar. I host a specialty seminar on how to invest in real estate with an IRA. So the people who attend that get an IRA tag. And then whenever I'm doing something related to that, I can send it. My Google alerts are set up separately. So Google could alert me that something came through that's pertinent to archery, and I'll send that out to my neighbor who has a son that is a competitive archer. So it just kind of, I play with it a little bit, and it's an ongoing process, but my tags, I can search my database for 2017 buyer and find everybody who bought that year. I can search for insurance and know all of my P&C providers that I network with and send them a special message. Things along those lines.
Oh, perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Let's see.
Any other questions?
Just checking. Well, that was excellent information. I didn't really know what to expect. It was a great conversation, number one, but I love the tips. And so thank you so much.
Absolutely,
It
thank you.
inspired me.
Excellent.
I'll say as we've gone on, when I engage with people, I almost don't even notice they have masks on now. I'm so used to communicating. You're communicating with their eyes. And sometimes I'll think, were they wearing a mask? Well, of course they were. We were in a grocery store. So you do adapt.
I don't know. I still think, were they smiling or did they see my smile? Because I also like to tease once in a while, Lynn, and I think, oh, did they know that I was joking? So then I double think everything.
Right. I don't even think the first time, so I don't double think.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, great job, you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Beth.
Excellent
not Becky.
presentation.
I hope you guys got some value out of it. I always enjoy these. Alan and I work on them, and then we walk away, and then we practice a